Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another unit review and best builds video. Today we are going to go over Joshua. I expected him to be a summonable unit because he is a pretty popular character, so I was pretty surprised when I heard that he was in fact going to be a Tempest Trials reward. I mean, I'm not complaining, I'll take a free Joshua. It kind of sucks that he can't get IVs, but that can be a good thing as well. Anyways, the review is first. In the second half, I'll recommend some of my builds for Joshua. Okay, Joshua is a sword infantry unit. He has 40 HP, 31 attack, 35 speed, 30 defense, 28 resistance, and 164 BST. His BST is very high. It's the highest among all infantry units. One more than Ira, two more than Mia and Naui, and also one less than the two ranged armored units, Henry and Jacob. That being said, he'll be a great unit to have on your arena team if you are looking for a sword unit to boost your arena score, kind of like the Black Knight. I'm glad that intelligence systems have been giving free-to-play players awesome rewards from the Tempest Trials event. That'll give players more incentive to grind harder for those events. But back to his stats, he has no bad stat. Everything is either decent or above average. I would say his HP and attack are the only two questionable stats, but they are fine. Considering how good his defensive stats are, 40 HP is not that bad. He has a legendary weapon, so he receives that exclusive 16 might to help out his mediocre attack stat. 35 speed is above average, but it's not high enough to double most units. He can only double units 30 speed and below. Because he has good bulk and enough speed to prevent most doubles, I think some sort of quicker post build is probably going to be the best kind of skill set for him. But all in all, a very balanced character with a versatile and flexible stat line. His unique weapon is Alhoma, 16 might, accelerated special trigger, so it's basically a better killing weapon or slaying edge. Also, it grants +5 resistance passively. With this weapon equipped, his resistance increases to 33. The extra res doesn't help him that much on the player phase because the only magic units that can retaliate are dragons and close counter mages. You'll find a lot of dragons in tier 20 arena. Other than that, close counter mages are quite rare. He will be able to tank quite a handful of mages on the enemy phase because he has enough speed to prevent doubles. However, I don't recommend tanking mages with Joshua if he doesn't have distant counter, because what's the point in that? You're just taking free damage. The only reason you want to do that is if you give him desperation and want an easy way to drop down into the desperation HP threshold. Special is Moonbow. It's okay on Joshua. It's guaranteed to proc every turn. It perfectly times out if you use them on the enemy phase. It starts off as a 1 cooldown special, so when the enemy attacks him, he'll retaliate with a Moonbow proc. If you give Joshua a quicker post, then he's able to proc Moonbow 2 times in one fight. The other special option is Iceberg, assuming that you keep his unique weapon. A skill is close defense 3. Man, he's going to suck up damage from any type of opponent. If you give him distant defense seal, then he'll technically have 36 defense and 39 resistance when he is attacked. It's also a very nice skill for fodder as well if you decide to go that route. B skill is Wind Sweep, another great skill for fodder. The only unit that has this skill is and he's kind of rare to get nowadays. So Joshua shouldn't take that much damage on the enemy phase if he's against the right enemy. Now with Wind Sweep, enemies can't counterattack, so he'll just take 0 damage on the player phase. The drawback is that he won't be able to double, but his speed is at that number where it's borderline good in terms of doubling units, so Wind Sweep isn't that bad. With Iceberg, you could attack an enemy for free, which will lower Iceberg down to 1 cooldown. On the enemy phase, the enemy attacks Joshua and reduces the cooldown to 0, and Joshua will counterattack with an Iceberg proc. So the other free-to-play heroes that's obtainable through Grand Hero Battle or Tempest Trials that is a infantry sword hero are Navarre, Tobin, and Mass Marth. Navarre is the worst out of the 4. He's really fast, but that's about it. Mass Marth pretty much outclasses Navarre. She has Falchion, which is a great weapon to take out Dragonstone heroes with for free-to-play players. You can also pair it up with Renewal and Reciprocal Aid to turn her into a pseudo healer. A great unit to build if you need someone that can deal damage and provide healing for the team. Tobin's like a slower version of Joshua with more physical bulk. Two different kind of units here. Tobin's stats are better suited for a steady breath quicker post set because he has more physical bulk and lower speed, which can help him build special charges faster. He also has really high HP, so he can run things like Infantry Pulse and Panic Ploy much better than Joshua can. But as far as which unit is the best for newer players and long-term use across all events, I think Mass Marth is probably the best. Joshua, Tobin, then Navarre in that order. For newer players, Joshua will be the best one to train for arena because he has the highest BST and the best default skill set among the 4. Mass Marth will be the most useful for Tempest Trials, Chain Challenges, Arena Assault, and even Arena. She will just score slightly less than Joshua, which isn't that big of a deal. Here's his budget set: default skill set with reposition, threat speed, and attack smoke 3 sacred seal. The strategy here is to safely attack into an enemy on the player face with wind sweep. If the enemy is too fast and wind sweep cannot activate, then just predict the enemy's movements and try to get the threat and speed debuff off for the following turn. But anyways, when he attacks, he'll activate attack smoke on the enemies surrounding the target, lowering their attack by 5. After the debuffs, buffs, and everything else, technically Joshua has about 43 defense and 46 resistance when he is versus a melee enemy. He's going to be so tanky and he'll be able to soak up a lot of damage from multiple enemies. Iceberg would be the best special in that situation. Moonbow's 1 charge cooldown is a bit off. Iceberg's 2 charge cooldown would be perfect, but I'm only recommending Moonbow because he already comes with it. Moonbow's cooldown works best if you straight up just use Joshua on the enemy phase right away. The whole strategy will play out about the same. After the enemy attacks Joshua, then attack smoke will still activate and debuff the surrounding enemies. The only difference is that if you attack on the player phase, Joshua will get that 1 extra charge for Iceberg, which will then proc on the following enemy phase. Next is an anti-mage set. Joshua has great resistance and has the right amount of speed to prevent most doubles, so a distant counter quicker pull set is an obvious option for him. Attack ploy in the C slot and distant defense sacred seal would reduce range damage by 11. In the C slot, any of the ploy skills can work. Which one to pick is up to you. If you are willing to give up damage reduction from attack ploy for more 1-round KOs, then go with defense ploy. If you want to prevent more doubles, then go with speed ploy. The only problem with ploys is that most of the relevant mages have a lot of resistance, like around 31 or 32 and above, and they also run fury, so their resistance is around 34 and 35, so ploys will miss on some of them. It'll work on most archers, which is why I recommend attack ploy as the first one. That'll help Joshua survive brave bow archers. It's also why I recommended Iceberg. 2 shots from a brave bow archer will allow Joshua to activate Iceberg right away on the first counterattack, which will grant him about 19 extra damage if we include the resistance from distant defense. Last but not least is a cookie cutter set. What's cool about Joshua is that he's one of the better offensive sword infantry units with really good res. The other guy that can run this kind of set is Lloyd, I believe, but Joshua runs the ploy skills better than him because he has 3 more res. Don't run life and death on him because Joshua actually has really good bulk. Use either Swift Sparrow or Fury. Desperation or Swordbreaker depends on C slot. His speed is kind of borderline good for Desperation, which is why I recommend Speed Ploy. Use Desperation with Speed Ploy or Swordbreaker with Defense Ploy would be my suggestion. He has decent physical bulk, so he doesn't quote unquote need Desperation. He can take a couple counter hits. For the seal, just give him speed plus 3. Alright, so if you were only able to get 4-star Joshua and are wondering if you should promote and train him, if you have like 0 good sword heroes, then sure, go ahead, be my guest. But let's say you have Rielma, Ike, Ira, and Mass Mars sitting around, then I probably wouldn't recommend using 20k feathers to promote him. I'm not that big of a fan of his default kit. He's actually pretty good if you are able to give him some type of ploy ability, but that requires some hefty investment. If you are able to obtain his 5-star version, then yeah, at least train the guy and give him at least a budget set. He's going to come in handy for arena assault. That's going to be it for Joshua. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more Fire Emblem Heroes content. Twitter and Discord links are in the description. Follow and join if you are interested in doing that. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.